we finally got the update, guys, which is incredible. The Saturday Night Live current update stars.
Yeah, listen, we've
Michael
had
Che, Colin Jost,
Aykroyd, who's a big update guy. We've had Tina Fey. We've had Colin Quinn.
We've had Kevin Nealon, who's update guy.
Dennis
Miller.
Yeah. Love update. It's such a fun part of the show. And we get
Jimmy Fallon too. Sorry.
Yep. Oh yeah. Some of the inner workings of update and what it's like being on update versus hosting update. And Michael Che has a Eddie Murphy pillow in the background we do joke about.
Right. And I told an Eddie Murphy story and I didn't even know he had the Eddie Murphy pillow. I saw the pillow.
That's why.
It was in the background. It was like they couldn't have been a nicer couple of fellas. And they're really humble. I mean, I think they're still earning their way. They feel they are. And I think their chemistry is great. And they're killing it on SNL.
Yeah. They've done a great job. They have a big following and they have a big show coming out on Peacock. We're going to talk about. That's going to be tomorrow night, looks like. So that would be September 12th. Correct?
Yes. Michael Che and Colin Jost, New York After Dark, and Peacock.
We're going to do a live show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we get into all the ins and outs of the show. So let's get right to it. Here they are. You do not wake up with that hair, do you? Like that?
I just got a haircut, but I go to sleep with it and don't do anything. So I kind of wake up with it.
Dana and I are going to spend a half hour after angry about this.
I tried to get heights because I knew Colin was going to bring it. I got a lot of product here. I wanted to get heights because I knew you were going to bring it. So
I have 18 different sprays and lotions and ointments.
There's fillers, lotions, sprays.
Do you wash it every night? Like, do you wash it every night? How do you do it?
I did. I don't anymore. I wash it every 4 nights. Thank you. That's a good question. Thank you. Because I'd strip it down and they didn't. Is
Michael relating to this at all? Next day hair is the best hair.
We just had to talk to a wardrobe about like what we're wearing for this thing we're doing this week. And I was like, what's Michael wearing? And she was like, you know what Michael's wearing. He's wearing a hat and he's wearing a hoodie. Met him. I was like, oh, right. Yes.
Is that for the special?
I've worn a black t-shirt for 150 podcast episodes.
Yeah.
I like having a uniform. I don't want to think too much.
There's some kind of magic with a black t-shirt and the white comedian. I don't know what it is. But I don't know if it's a Carlin thing, but it's like
yeah, it is. It is, isn't it?
There was a comedian who had a joke that he was like, I'm on a diet. It's called wearing a black t-shirt.
That's why Dana does it.
Like a towel.
Exposed. No, Dana.
It's a little bit Carlin-y, early Carlin. He did some specials in a black t-shirt. I don't know. I have no brand and I don't have much of a personality. Yeah. Our guests today are Colin Jost. Let's do the thing about the show up front first. We want to, and then we can circle about to it around. Okay. So is it September 12th? Because I thought you said this weekend. That's Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. That's not a weekend, right? Thursday, no. Thursday's just a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Thursday, September 12th.
It's Friday
these guys
light.
are going to be live because they can only do live. It's in their contract.
Yeah, right. Is it going to be live?
Colin Jost and Michael Che present New York After Dark. First question, 9 p.m. Is it twilight or is it dark? I'm not saying it really matters, but is it after dark at 9 p.m. in September?
Is it a lie in the title already?
Misinformation is the word of the day. Okay. 9 p.m. Eastern.
It'll be dark. I'm going to predict it's dark.
Yeah, I think so too.
6 p.m. Pacific. What time will it be on in Hawaii?
By the way, that was a real gotcha question about the title. We're really drilling you.
Hawaii, it's going to be live at 3 p.m. Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got 6 viewers over there that want to know.
American Samoans watching.
It's a breakfast show.
You have to get up pretty early. Pretty early in American Samoa.
Yes.
Well, okay, so here's what I'd want to know, honestly. What is the show?
Really
well,
good.
is it an hour-long update or no? What is it?
Oh my God, no.
I didn't think so. Okay.
It's really it's just a evolving event.
It's not written yet.
Evolving.
It's written.
It's very Saturday Night Live. It's like 6 months away in your guys' heads, even though it's like in 24 hours, right? SNL is all about just a month is like 10 years away. So you'll get down to it after this podcast.
It is weird that you never write ahead because you're just putting out fires the week you're at SNL. So you're never like, everyone's like, well, you must write ahead a little bit if you know someone's coming, and you kind of don't even process anyone that's coming beyond that week.
No, anything you think of in August would never possibly make it to the show. Even though 2 weeks before, anything you think of will never, ever make it to the show. Yeah. I don't know why that is.
I would always take a sketch idea and go, I'm saving this for Michael Keaton. And they're like, dumb idea. Anything good, get it out. But we had like 200 white male hosts in a row. That was like, our problem was like, there was no, every host was like the next guy. So if you have a generic sketch, you're like, we just wrote it for Jeff Daniels, then Tom Hanks, then Alec Baldwin. You know what I mean? So it's very hard to go. And then you have a female host, but you try to mix it up. But it was hard to write different things every week. That was my excuse, by the way.
Check that hair.
I don't think it's much different now, though, is it?
Yeah, you got a pretty mixed bag, but it was more just about bad writing on my part. In the pitch meeting, Lauren goes, David, anything this week? I go, nothing for you, Tom Hanks. Sorry, I'm saving a couple of winners for Alec Baldwin in 3 weeks. Oh, that's nice. Okay,
David and I toured together, and he was my opener, one of my best openers.
Oh yeah,
and he wrote some jokes for me, or added on to the Grumpy Old Man sketch. So he's self-deprecating. Who's the more humble between you two? Who's the more Hannah? More humble. True or false? Has any of you ever said to the other one after the update, if you ever do that again, I'm going to kick your ass?
Mm-hmm. I was something toward that. Yeah, I think jalapeno business. I was pretty furious about that one.
You were just upset that it worked so well.
The punchline. Well, I remember in run through when you did it, because I never heard it before. I don't remember what the setup was, but the punchline was jalapeno business, and I was like, if you tell that joke on air, I'm leaving. I'm quitting the show. And he did it on air, and it destroyed. And I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated. I was like, I don't even know what we do anymore. I would have honestly cut it if it wasn't so upsetting to you. And then I was like, I'm definitely doing this joke.
Can we know what the setup was, or is it what is the controversy? Do you remember?
I'd rather not know. But
you do not have to.
I don't remember at all. But
it crushed.
It's a funny punchline. No matter what.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. You could say it without context.
Have you guys ever hugged each other and said, love you, bro? Okay.
Yes.
Well, one says yes, one says no.
Yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a one-sided hug if it ever happened.
Have you ever said, oh no, here comes Sarah Sherman sliding in again?
Yeah, maybe once or twice.
Is it a Sherman week? Yeah, it's a Sherman week.
It's so funny when people are like, oh my God, she's really like going after you, you know, and you're like, I mean, she is, but it's so clearly
a joke.
Yeah. It's like, is everything okay between you and Sarah? You're like, yeah, if it wasn't, it would be crazy.
They're like, but she said you're leading the new Nazi party. And you're like, well, that was sort of a joke, I think.
Yeah.
Why are they looking for someone?
Where's it coming from? I like everything I'm hearing so far.
Is that one of your sponsors?
One thing I find interesting, just watching you guys casually and wondering, because I feel like when I stepped off after 7 years, my final sketch was the best I ever was, as far as just being out of my head mentally. And it seems like you guys, at some point in the last few years, got so loose, and it's really fun to watch. I don't know, the way your interplay and the way you make fun of each other, or when you surprise each other with jokes.
Yeah.
Do you think the 10 years just kind of wears you down into such a relaxed state and confidence, right? That's my overarching question. I'll be quiet now.
But no, first of all, thank you. But also, like, I think everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong. So there's kind of nothing left to be afraid of in that way. Like, it's kind of like the confidence of being so bad that how much worse can it get kind of thing. You know what I mean? But it still gets like, it's still SNL. So it's still nerve wracking, but it's a lot more fun when you realize there'll be another show next week and we're just having fun,
There were at least a good 3 years of feeling like it was bad or not working I certainly like personally feeling like I was trying to find it or figure it out, and everyone's seemingly not into it, and feeling like and not knowing if you're going to get fired every summer for at least 3 years. So once we got past that existential dread of doing it and whatever, then it started to get more fun. Certainly for me, I felt that way.
Is there something when you are replacing someone that you feel like the audience is mad that you're there, or they're just not ready yet, and you got to sort of win them over after a while?
Yeah, totally. I always feel like it's like the stepdad effect. It's always like, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not dad to them, and then you kind of stick around for long enough that they start to kind of just know you as the job.
Kids.
Yeah.
They call you dad.
There's always new kids.
Yeah.
Remember the Gilbert Godfrey thing about the coming in, because he came in 80, right? Like after the first cast left, that he was like, imagine at the height of Beatlemania that they were like, we're replacing the Beatles with these guys. And he's like, that's what it felt coming in as the second after that first SNL cast.
That was pretty grim. And then they got Eddie Murphy.
right, yeah.
Was Eddie with Gilbert?
He came in a little bit later. The show was going on, and then Eddie kind of came in as a feature. I was in New York at the time, and I knew a guy I'd seen. He said, "You got to see this kid, Eddie Murphy, at Comic Strip. He's crushing.
He's a baby. He's in a crib. Come see."
I go, "Really? How good is he? I mean, come on. He's no Dan Aykroyd or something." You go, "No, you got to see this kid." And then boom.
Let's ask Michael's pillow. Is that Eddie on your pillow?
Turn to the right side too. That's kind of dope.
I've never turned to the right side in a Zoom in my life.
No,
I'm always like,
or on Update when there's a graphic, I'm always like,
here.
No, oh.
I'm curious here. You guys, do you have an overriding sort of producer that's helping you with everything? Or do you actually produce? Because casts will come up throughout the week, right? And kind of go, I got an update idea, and who are they?
Who do you blame when you kill a bit?
I mean, everyone loves to slide in and be front and center with you guys. At this point, they got hats on, they got props. I mean, some really
they got hats on.
Well, they got they're playing Eskimos. I don't know, they're Heidi Gar, and they're doing some very creative, potent stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys are very good at playing straight to them. But do you have? Is there a political environment about that?
I feel like the closer to the end of the season, the office gets more and more crowded, like when the season's about to end. But yeah, I think it's pretty, I don't know. Sometimes we're looking for them. Sometimes there's times where we don't have features and we don't understand why. There's 2 or 3 options that we have to send a reminder hey, if you guys got features, let us know. But
Bing.
Yeah, it's always kind of tricky.
You got to ping them. Have you ever had no update features?
We did last year. Remember, we had an oops no features, whatever it was.
Oops no features.
But that's because it got cut, not because we didn't have them.
Yeah, it got cut at dress, so it was just we went straight through for whatever it was, 8 to 10 minutes or something, and it was kind of a fun, different energy to because we'd never done it before. It was kind of fun to feel out.
You're like, I've never worked 12 minutes straight in a row, but I did it. When I would do features, and if there was no Adam doing a song, there was no Farley going, I says, and I'm like, oh, I'm the only one. Oh, thank God. And then you get cut. You're like, what the fuck? This is the only time I thought I was
I was the only option. You went with nothing.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Because you guys, I guess, have never been a guest on an Update.
Jay did one feature there where he rolled around to the other side.
Oh, that's right.
Basically endorsed Japanese style toilets, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I got a bidet. I was really excited to talk about it, but I couldn't find a news setup to get into it. So I was like, can I just do a feature where I just talk about it for 2 minutes? And I got to do it. It blew my mind.
That is hilarious. I mean, it is interesting because it's a little bit like rodeo, because you're in there in your chair. Maybe Chris Rock's ahead of me or something, or someone else, and then they go out of the chute. That you make a left turn, and then it's 20 million people, all that, and then you come back around. So it's the last time I did Church Lady, I think, is with you guys and Colin. It's where I'm in the chute, and then you roll out. The chair is actually rolling, and
then you hear meow. Then the crowd goes.
First you wait for all the the love, and then and then you deconstruct all the goodwill. But it's nerve-wracking coming out there.
Was it even when you were on the show more nerve-wracking to come on Update than to be in another, like a regular sketch?
Kind of, only because of that waiting. And then Dennis Miller's out there, Christ's sakes, who invented the lemonade pitcher, all right? And he's crushing.
And you follow it on the cards, and then they wait, and then they push you out. And so the audience doesn't see you, I think, at home, if it's still this way, where they go to one shot, but you're still out there. And so the crowd starts to get something's happening, and it kind of throws does it throw that last joke? Because they're looking at
sometimes, especially if it's Bowen's coming by in a giant moth costume.
Exactly. That's hard. Wait, what's this going to be? And they're half listening.
Yeah, you're like, no. Hear this one last thing I have to say about Hillary.
You're like, this Bowen. Hang on. Okay, bring him out.
I have to say that if the Update's not going slow, it's a little less nerve-wracking. If Update is crushing, and maybe the first guest is crushing, it's a little more okay. But if it's a bad night, it's less nerve-wracking.
Dennis Miller, I think, said, "Get him next time" to me or something on air. I'm like, God damn, dude.
Oh my God.
Fucking broken bat single.
Dennis saw my cards being, because they flipped through the cards during the break or whatever. He looked at my cards and he thought, Christ's sakes, Carvey, I thought you were going to go down in a heap of dog do. There's not one joke in the bunch, Because he's a great joke writer, and mine's more rhythmic. But so, how many Spade in Americas did you do? Do you think
Spade in America? Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I thought it was called the Hollywood Minute, but
no. After I left, Well, after whatever.
Did you do it? Did you first do it on SNL?
Yeah, no. It was just when I was leaving, Lauren was missing me, Adam, and Chris. Everyone kind of left at the same time. So Lauren said, "Why don't you stay? Why don't you stay and do?" He was petting me like this, and then he goes, "You can just do a 5-minute segment a week, and it won't be Update. You just do whatever you want." I don't know why I never tried to Update, but I said, "Okay." So he goes, "You can do field bits. You can do anything you want." So we just named it something stupid, and then they gave me one writer, and I was sort of separate from the show. So I did a Hollywood Minute once, twice, but I went to the World Series. I did field bits, which are fucking way harder than I thought. And 8 hours of shooting for a 2.5-minute bit, maybe. And then came back, and then that was Will Ferrell came in and those guys. So I sort of overlapped with them, but I didn't really get the same bond I had with the other guys because I wasn't really doing sketches. I was just on the road and doing stuff.
Okay.
That's a good question.
In my memory, I'm trying to remember what because I remember watching those, but I don't remember what the timeline was. That it felt like it was. I saw, I knew it for years really well. But it may have only been for like a year, right?
It was just 1 year, and other than that, it was just fighting for Update bits, and we did love doing Update. Like you were saying. It's funny that you're on the other side of it. And Dana and I did a lot of update bits. It's so fun, but it is scary that last few seconds when you're in the dark. And then you go, if I just go there, that's 20 million people. I'm going to get there soon. But yeah. Or you could just walk out and go, ta-da, and you'd be on camera. But it's hard not to do that. It's like a psychological thing.
Does it ever matter, like, whether it's something that you've done a bunch of times or it's something that you're trying, like the feeling? Is it more or less nerve-wracking either way?
Well, I think if Dana was doing Church Lady, I think he'd be more confident. But if you're doing a new bit, it's scary because you have to sort of get him to bite within 1 or 2 lines and run with it. Like if you come out in a costume, they kind of know what you're doing. I think I got pushed out. I was Jeff Foxworthy. And they kind of it's already funny because you've got a little look. And I have an accent. And then I think I was saying, how do you know if you're a tornado or something? At first, it was an AIDS joke. This sounds horrible. But I was like, if you have it, you might be the AIDS virus. And so I changed it to Ebola. That was a big discussion.
Nice correction.
Yeah, because Downey, and of course Downey was probably the one going, just do it. I'm like, Downey, you're always the one pushing us out there and daring us. And then guess who gets fired? It's not you. They're like, he's always a year later going, Spade was a good kid. He was a little too rough on the edges. And I'm like, well, that's when you told me.
No one
so we changed
at home is like, I bet that was a Downey.
It's only writers later that go, was that Jack Handy or Downey? So overall, it's fun. Not to take over. It was fun, and it's very scary, and you want it to work.
Lauren's thing is, I don't know if he always said this or not, but his view, I guess now, is like that you can't be a star on the show if you can't be a star on Update, like coming out and doing a feature. Like it's really rare for someone to become a star if they don't score in a feature on Update. But I don't know if that's always been that.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that. He just told me where you live is important. So it was, and he also said about stars that are in too many movies. Well, what I've learned is they can't miss you if you don't go away.
That's
the minute you get hot, you can feel yourself getting less hot. That was a good one.
Also, following his rules, there's like no way to actually live a life. Everything.
If we wrote down all 200 rules.
Oh, there's so many. They're brilliant. Some of them just make you think. Yeah. Have you heard this one? And I've said this before, but I thought I can't even believe it's Lawrence. He says, marriage is a prison that everyone's trying to escape into. He just has all these things. I don't know where they come from, but
my dad said marriage is the only game that 2 can play and both can lose. I was like, Jesus. It's right after divorce.
Thanks, absentee dad.
He also said, the fucking you're getting isn't worth the fucking you're getting. I'm like, thanks, Dad. It's my 4th birthday. Can we just eat the cake? But I think that's a great thing to say about Update. Like, they have to buy you on your own, not in a sketch. You know what I mean? Like, just we like you or we don't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting thing to say. I agree.
And I've
never heard that before, actually. That's a good one.
Even if you made it up, I like it.
I had a reverse thing because Church Lady had her own set and was in home base. And then sooner or later, it's where characters, when they have less heat, then they pop out.
They go to die.
Church Lady doesn't have a set or a show all of a sudden. She's just rolling out, So
they go, "Weren't you the cold opening guy?" And you're like,
he had a giant set. He had a theme song. He had movie star guests. Now he's just next to Colin Fry. He's got 1 minute. The wig is not like the original wig, no matter how hard and how great that staff is. It is you never get back to the original wig. But I just want to clarify this one thing that you guys do literally surprise each other during the live show.
Yes.
You play practical jokes.
Yes.
And when did that start? Because I think that really creates a lot of
big hook. Yeah.
It's huge because it goes to your relationship. And all
I think the first version of it was, we had a lot of jokes that were like way too harsh. Like the audience just wouldn't laugh at.
Oh, on the other guy.
It was just way too hard. Yeah. They just wouldn't laugh. Like we would think they were funny, but just the audience would just die. So we were like, well, one Christmas, we was like, well, let's do a grab bag where for Christmas we give each other a joke that was too harsh for air, but since it's Christmas, we get to tell it anyway. I think we did that, and the jokes that bombed killed for some reason, just because we offered that.
It's so great, new life.
Yeah, so then Colin was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we just did like a joke swap where we wrote jokes for each other, kind of just heightening the game?" And that's kind of how it started. And so I'm thinking he's trying to set me up, and he's trying to write jokes, like, to get me to write like soft jokes so he could write harsh jokes. So I wrote really harsh jokes, and he did not write harsh jokes. The first one, I kind of just like overshot it, and then it just became what it is.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that the idea of clarity, that when you did that little setup for it, then the crowd went crazy. It's a sketch writing, it's stand-up. Anytime I watch young stand-ups, it doesn't go over, I go, they're just not quite sure what you were going for. So it's I
mean, even like in stand-up, we could talk about a sketch idea that bombed at dress rehearsal, and it can be really funny when you're hearing it. And people are like, how's that not on the show? And you're like, well, we definitely tried. And it was pretty clear non-response.
Yeah.
You guys have that lane. You're currently on SNL. And so, you can talk all that. And that the audience is obviously going to lean forward about that inside baseball. It's the greatest joke I ever got for Update, and they wouldn't let me do it. And you're like, okay, what is?
Exactly. And it's also too like that version of the sketch is like 15 seconds as opposed to 4 minutes of script.
Oh, you're right.
So it makes it a lot cleaner and faster. A lot of times it's just one joke, and then we kind of stay in there too long. But for the joke swap, once we kind of figured out that if we just offer up the context of a situation, then almost anything could work. Then it just became like, well, how far can we go and just have fun with it?
Dana, I don't know if you remember, I had a dirty bit on Update, and I was so sure it was going to work. This is so horrifying.
Here we go.
I don't know if you guys go. I don't know if you guys go to read through, but at read through, I do it. It's dirty, so it's like different ways of masturbation. So I'm like, oh, who was it? Buddy Wackett. I did all these ones about the Yankees, and then we did Tommy Boy that summer. It didn't even get past read through.
Yeah, that was in Tommy Boy.
Yeah, so Cameron Diaz, what the jokes were about her. Maybe she was the host or something, and it didn't work. And I was like, "Fuck!" And then in Tommy Boy, I go, "Hey, can I cram these in here? I'll give them to Farley." And it made no sense in the scene, but the movie's about brake pads, so we're like, let's take a break from talking about riveting brake pads.
Yeah.
And so we put those kind of things in, and then it's so rare to find a new home for it. But like you were saying with your joke, made me think of that. Like, you just look at it from a different angle, and you go, "Oh, maybe this will work."
Bada boom.
By the way, both Tommy Boy and Trading Places, I would argue, and also both Dan Aykroyd, influence, but both have plots that you would in no way, like third acts that you would never think are going to land in a comedy. One is Orange Futures, right, in Trading Places, and brake pad merging schemes in Time Boy, and they both work really well. You're like, whoa, how did those get pulled off?
Yeah, even a pitch would not have been greenlit. I think it was greenlit first, and then they're like, a movie about brake pads. They're like, say no more. In Ohio.
You're right. Usually broad comedies are really straining in the third act. Like, just get this fucker done, man. Because we've done all the jokes.
They're kind of smarter plots than you would expect. And I feel like it's a good example of the audience will go with you for if it's actually well thought out.
Yeah. Some movies that are good and funny, I don't remember the plot. You know what I mean? I just go, like, what was that? I go, what was the pitch? I don't know. I just thought those guys were funny and the movie's funny. And I'm like, it's got to be something wispy.
How do you guys deal with, like, sort of where the edge is? Like, you can't make Tropic Thunder today, right?
I mean,
maybe today.
I think you can.
Do you find the audience is looser recently in a way, as far as jokes that are a little outside the lanes? Is there kind of a
I think it's sort of like I think a lot of times it's us, like just people in the industry kind of fear what is possible by backlash, but so we kind of like pull back and then blame the audience for what we think the audience is going to react. But I think people are the same as they've always been. They just want to laugh. If it's funny and they trust that you're being fun, I think like you could get away with a lot
if you mean well. Yeah.
Yeah, if you mean well.
Where it's coming from, like what is whether
the intent is rarely what they think it is. Like most comics are just saying, even if it sounds horrible, you're just trying to get a surprise laugh or get something. You don't really mean anything. You're just like, this is a curveball joke, and then get the blowback.
Yeah.
What's that?
Maybe out of desperation. Who knows? It could be anything.
Of course, that's most of my
bit of that. Yeah, I think you do get exhausted trying to second guess yourself. And, I don't know the first person to say, oh, you can't say that, or we couldn't do that. It's so funny, but I do think you get exhausted by that notion. And then you just start just saying whatever you want.
Wait, by the way,
Michael, go ahead.
Made me think of, because when I went home to Staten Island, like a little while ago, I saw that I had VHS compilations of SNL from the period you guys were there, and that it's so crazy that you were in it. There was a special called "The Bad Boys of SNL." Do you remember that? A VHS.
That was Spade.
The Bad Boys of SNL, and I feel like that was what Spade, Rock,
Schneider, Sandler, Farley.
Yeah.
I think my first memory of SNL was my family. I don't know if it was the 20th anniversary or 20 something. It was like some compilation show that was on, and they were showing chopping broccoli, and I could not understand what was happening at all. I was
don't blame
what?
You.
I don't get it. It just sounded funny. And everyone was laughing so hard. I was like, it must be great because all the older people are laughing.
People ask me they send me broccoli memes. Show Dana. I'm like,
I get people mentioning that to me more than anything else, and I have no idea why. I only did it once.
I've never seen my family laugh.
And that was your first. That was your first show. That's crazy.
Really?
He came out of the gate big.
I had Church Lady too. Church Lady was the last sketch during Dress, and because everyone thought it was going to bomb, including me, and then it killed. It moved up to and then that came out. Yeah, I got a freaky lucky first show, but we only had like 6 cast members then. Everyone got to do a lot.
Chopping
so for just a second, because everyone listening to our podcast, just how did you guys? I know you've been asked this a lot. Get on SNL, your little path there. And
this is the final time you'll be asked this. So
we'll never ask you again. You can make it. You can make it. I did stand up. They saw me. Boom. It doesn't have to be, but
you can pick that one.
We're in our office, but I'm in my dressing room, and Shay's in his office on 17th. Have you guys have a lot of people done it from the office this year, or is that a rare?
I thought you were on 17th, but the dressing room it's kind of like, have you had it painted?
That's your dressing room?
Fancy. You got a little round window, or is that a prop? What is that?
What's that termite doing back there?
Some kind of
a lot of woodwork.
The size of his dressing room is disgusting.
You don't have a big one, do you?
I have we shared a dressing room for, I don't know, the first 5 years, but then COVID happened. We couldn't.
You see that deep corner in his dressing room? He's not at the other end of his dressing room. You see that deep corner he has behind him?
Holy shit.
He's in a huge. He's in a suite. Look at this.
He's in a suite.
Look at this.
I've never seen that.
Where's Will Smith's trailer or something?
Holy shit.
You have your own bathroom. He has his own bathroom in his dressing room.
No. That's it.
Yeah.
It's only your own bathroom?
It's always flooded. It's literally
you're just
is damp.
Colin Jost has Will Smith's trailer on Hancock.
I was like, what are you doing in there?
He had a double-decker, I think, on
Hancock. That's a good record.
Isn't that one?
I like that movie.
I did too.
It's a great movie. It's very underrated.
It is.
Jason
Very
Bateman.
underrated.
So where's your? We had Bowen on recently. Where is your guys' headspace right now? Just you're still like the premiere is so
Who cares?
2 weeks from now. I'm not even gonna think about it.
We
nervous?
barely thought about this live special we're doing on Thursday.
How long is the live special? Is it an hour and a half?
That sounds right. Sounds
ish. Oh, it's live. Okay.
Yeah,
and they give you a chunk of time and they say, you guys, obviously it sounds funny and you guys can put together a squadron of, it's going to be you guys plus guests.
Surprise drop-ins, Jerry Seinfeld.
Right. No, we don't know yet.
Drop-ins, Chris Rock.
No, we don't know yet.
Oh, I'm just saying. Wish list.
Helping you guys.
Lower.
Barry Sobel. Kidding, Barry.
Maybe you've seen this next guy on TV, even though he hasn't been on TV yet. He's not that good.
This up-and-comer has been making some noise at the Comedy Cellar. It's his first time on television. You're going to break some people for their debut?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Okay.
I would love when you go to the Comedy Cellar and they clearly didn't know who you were and they'd just be like, half-hour Comedy Central. You've seen him around. You're like, wait,
premium blend.
They just make that up.
But I feel like someone still says it, like half-hour comedy. I don't think they've done it.
Yeah, VH1 stand-up spotlight.
No one's ever seen it. He's
young comics.
Even at
clubs and colleges all over the country.
Clubs and colleges.
Has open for Heidi Gartner at the Wilshire Comedy Playhouse.
Dana would be bad at this. When you go, I was at the Comedy Store the other night. They're like, hey, right before I walk out, I always think there's like an MC and they go, oh no, by the way, and I'm walking up, they go, you bring up Bill Squankmeyer. And I'm like, who? What? And then I go up and I'm like, the whole time I'm stressing going, what was his name? What?
Yeah.
And I have no credit. So I'm like, this guy, what are you going to say about this fucking guy? Always killing right and left.
He's the talk of the town. He's the talk of the town.
I'm not even going to say his name. You're going to freak out. Here he comes. He'll tell you.
That happens to me during like warm up. Like I got to do warm up for the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know the music guests or I don't know. I don't really remember what their names is. I'm like, what the fuck is the name of that band? It's some band I've never heard of and I probably will never hear of again. But.
Hot House Flowers. We would go through the bands and we would guess ahead of time who's going to stick around. I'm like, Nirvana, no. Pearl Jam, no. Eagle Eye Cherry, yes.
Eagle Eye Cherry.
That was when I hosted Eagle Eye Cherry.
And it took me so long to realize that Eagle Eye Cherry was just a person.
Yeah.
Like a band, because I never kind of knew, I just thought it was a band. Not.
Oh, Colin.
You gotta have a cool name, man.
Eagle Eye Cherry is a cool name. Wasn't quite enough.
And it's a birth name, right?
Is he an American Indian? I don't know. I don't remember enough. During the band, I go, here comes Eagle Eye Cherry. And then I run off and they rip my Velcro suit off.
Hey, we should say this is on Peacock.
Yeah.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
Yeah, Peacock and...
Peacock.
Yeah. We only have a few more questions.
It's a great name for a streaming platform.
The gentlemen from Peacock are on ready to talk.
Why don't we just call it Big Cock? Get more numbers.
And then you go, Lauren, where will we do this fun special? And he goes, well, Peacock, maybe? Peacock? We have a deal with Peacock?
I have to say I love it because I can't stay up that late, but I love watching SNL at 8:30 in the West Coast.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's been what, like the last 4 or 5 years?
That's for the oldies. That's us.
It hurts what we're allowed to get away with too, because a lot of times we'll have like dirty stuff, and they'll be like, "Well, we can't do it because we're on at 8:30." And you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, really? That has changed.
Like, 8 o'clock. We're like, we didn't choose that.
Yeah, our standards is like way worse now.
Even a live streaming platform has standards that not for
SNL.
Being SNL because
SNL. Because it's at 8:30.
It goes by the standards that are on the West Coast.
But it's only on Peacock. It's not on NBC at 8:30, right?
No. The SNL, like the regular SNL, is on NBC at 8.
Oh.
At 8:30.
Oh, okay. I'm just doing it. I'm getting it on Peacock. I didn't know it was actually on Channel 4. Oh,
Dana thinks his laptop's
I don't watch
machine.
I'm always on live streaming. I gotta say. I got
what application do I push?
I don't like all these channels. We didn't have a channel. We didn't have a TV. We didn't even have a life.
Dude, try watching football. I have 85
Grumpy Old
different
Man
pay
2024.
services.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah. You're going to do a lot. Dana's going to drop by this year and just run around, do like the hat trick. He's going to run into update. He's going to go to a monologue. He's going to be with the music guest.
Music, yeah.
That's exciting. Are you guys excited about 50th?
50th is going to be fun, yeah. Just to watch.
Well, I'm a little. I'm slightly anxious for the show because the 40th was so fly by the seat of your pants, and it actually worked out. That I feel like the fear is like it's going to be, because if it was
the band part will be good.
Well, and then how big it is, right? Like gigantic concert at Radio City Music Hall on Thursday when we'd all want to be writing and doing stuff.
No, when is the concert? I thought it was Sunday.
No, on Thursday, and then the show's Saturday. No.
Oh, it's Thursday?
I don't know what
it might be. It might be Thursday or Friday, and then I think the show is Sunday, which I've kind of.
Oh,
I think it's actually Sunday.
Sunday.
How much have you written of that, Colin?
Oh yeah, just like 30 sketches so far for that.
I remember I saw Higgins when I was at the 40th, and I go, I like the people, like I know some SNL people that call me and they go, who would I call about what sketch I want to pitch them for the 50th? I go, it won't be on. Don't worry. You don't have to call them. I said, I don't think they're going to accommodate every 700 cast members and say, well, what do you want to do? I think you get the biggies and then
I want to do Wayne's World, and we finally acknowledge our age.
You take the wigs off, and it's gray wig.
Hey, Wayne, we don't look the same like we did before. I'm 80. And I've just got
all
my
a dream. I just got pubes. They're gray. Look, Wayne.
Anyway,
yeah, cutting at the 40th, cutting to Lovitz during the in memoriam was so.
Yeah,
you know what he said the other day? He goes, they want to do that joke again. I said, once is enough. I go, I would do it, dude. I said it might and will be the only airtime. Just take it. It's gonna, and it gets a fucking laugh again.
He loved it. Every time they cut to him, it was a laugh.
I'm alive.
Hello, jealous.
Yeah. All right, we gotta let these guys go. Go ask them something. One more question, then.
Yeah, I feel like we've answered 0 of your questions, but
not really. You guys are. I don't know. I mean, I kind of when I'm on these shows, I always feel like artistic people have a thing in their head that they don't. They're imposter syndrome, or they're not that good. And I just want to say, you guys are incredible on Update. And really,
nowhere else.
Really great. And I don't know. I maybe I'm corny. Maybe I'm Mike Douglas. Maybe I'm Merv Griffin. But I do like telling people that when and it's always sincere. But do you guys have, when you come on to SNL, it's been 50 years, and there was Norm Macdonald, brilliant. There was Tina, and so there is this giant canon of brilliant people, and you guys are right up there now. So I mean, I put you in with anybody.
Oh man!
I mean, come on.
I really, even if you're lying,
I'm not saying the first year I thought that, but I'm saying as you guys have progressed,
you wouldn't have made it this long if you weren't good. And
progressed. Now
we saw some when we were there, and we saw some before we were there. So
yeah,
I mean, everyone has their opinions, but 10 years is a great run, and they wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't killing.
I'm just when you guys come on, I'm happy. I'm intensely relaxed. Because I just feel like this is going to be good.
That means the world from you guys. That's
insane.
Part of why we're doing it now. Why we even thought of it a thing to do. So I really appreciate it.
Well, we don't mean to embarrass you, but
no, I don't say that to every guest, right, David? I don't say that to everybody.
You do not. We haven't had an Update team on in a while, but you have not seen it.
I just was a casual observer, and then I'm like, damn, these guys are getting fucking good. It's like really good.
Listen, we're mad about it too.
Now, if you guys, we're actually kind of angry too.
What about Colin's foot? Is it okay? Because
yes, it's totally fine. It's
coral mites. Yeah, I've had them.
A bunch of antibiotics, and then it's. I mean, there's probably a bunch of scars, but it's totally fine in terms of I have toes and stuff.
Did you walk on coral? Is that what it was when you go in the water?
I surfed and hit coral, and then I was barefoot for the next 5 days in dirt and sand, which was a bad combo.
It was funny that the Olympics were that far away from the other Olympics.
I know. We now go to Tahiti. It was stunning. But did you
actually needed to know the time zone difference and when it was aired?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a surfer question?
No,
for the final with the two dudes, they're out there on the surfboards talking, and there's just no waves. I mean, there was a wave, and then it's like 15 minutes. It's the Olympic final. We're going to crown a champion. They're on their boards in the water chatting for 15 minutes.
There were a couple people I thought who really got screwed. Like I thought John Florence kind of got screwed. Like Jack Robinson beat him. It was great, and obviously a very deserving that he moved on. But like John kind of was waiting because the waves were so good, and then they just died for 10 minutes, and he never got a chance at another wave, which sucked. And also Medina a little bit, Gabriel Medina, he got one great wave and then never had a chance at it. So I feel like those guys both kind of got screwed.
That's right. I noticed that he got one great wave, and then that's all.
You just want it to be monster waves, but it just doesn't always happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crazy to be out there on a boat and watch. One day it went in the morning from being like 4 to 6 feet high to 18 feet within, 6 hours. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest wave you've ever surfed? Because Staten Island doesn't have a big surf scene.
Big scene.
It has a great. If you're looking for hypodermic needles in the surf, it's got a great. I would go to Montauk around here if I go. I mean, I've been in probably 10. I've surfed like a 10-foot wave is probably the most I've ever done. I'm not.
Are you ripped? I mean, most surfers I find are just ripped because they're just constantly out there paddling.
I'm not. So, I don't get to. I mean,
you don't get to do it.
City,
so but Michael's nodding that you're ripped.
I don't know update?
He's definitely
ripped.
Well, he's in that chair. He's got his abs on the whole time.
I sit on one of those balls, those Swiss balls.
You're like this. Welcome to eat.
We know you're relaxed if you do that on one of those Swiss exercise. We'll know you guys are okay. How much longer can we have you guys on update? You got outside projects. You're doing game shows. You're doing stand-up specials. So now there's no reason to leave, right? You can just kind of come and go.
There's no reason to stay either.
I don't know.
If you can
your retirement?
I've never said Spade.
I'm trying to do filler.
I just wouldn't leave. Okay, I just wouldn't leave.
All right, let's give a last plug to this gig we got.
Last plug.
Peacock.
September 12th, Thursday. Colin Jost.
Which I think
Michael
is tomorrow.
Che present New York After Dark while it's twilight, 9 p.m. Eastern on Peacock and on NBC, or just Peacock?
Oh,
we think it's just Peacock.
We think it's just Peacock.
Check your local listings.
You guys are going to be saying, what the fuck, and this next fucking guy, right?
Yeah. This motherfucker.
This motherfucker, some people think he's good. I don't fucking know. Bring him up. Didn't you get bad intros in the day? I mean, I used to get the worst intros. Some guys think this guy's funny. I don't know. Maybe I don't get it. Yeah.
What about a college where you go and they're like, we're going to introduce you, and then they read a whole bio?
I do that. I always go, that's a corporate gig. I go, hey, thanks, Jim, for reading my Wikipedia page.
I start with the fucking name, too. They're like, please welcome Michael Che, who was on Saturday Night Live.
Like, wait, what?
So people should know you guys out there doing stand-up all over the place. Michael's you did your special a couple years ago, or you probably do for another
2 years
one.
ago. Yeah.
Fill it up.
I'm trying to figure it out now. It's just, like when the SNL season starts, it just it's hard to get consistent stage time to where you get really sharp. So every time I get a little better, I feel like I get a little worse. So it's like, I don't know when I'd be able to do it. Maybe winter break.
And Colin, you were playing Vegas with people recently?
Yeah, I kind of I had to switch up a lot of the summer because of like some family stuff and planning and stuff, and so I had to move a lot of dates together. But I did a run all over the West Coast. I mean, I love doing it. I wish I had a little more time to do it.
And for a corporate date, what is your price?
Yeah. And if you can write your own intro, will you take some money off? Okay, guys. Anyway, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, you guys. Have a nice show. I'll be watching.
You guys are great. We'll see you on the Peacock
Thank
special.
you guys so much.
Thank you guys. Very nice to talk to you.
Enjoyed it.
This is so
Our pleasure.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all this stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman. I'm here to talk about Colin Quinn, one of my old good buddies. Dana Carvey. You might not know him. He's always in the shot with me. He's on the show with me. But he's not feeling well today. And I said, you know what? Just lay low. It's not his heart, because he did have heart things. He's not feeling great. And I said, you know what? I'll just handle this because I'm such a stage hog. It's embarrassing. So honestly, just stay home. But Colin, who I saw at the Brooklyn Diner last time I was in New York, you know, that's the famous Brooklyn Diner. He goes with Precious Seinfeld, but then I got to go with him. And he said it was underwhelming, whatever that means. By the way, I was watching the VMAs last weekend. The VMAs are on the MTV. It's a lot of code, Video Music Awards. MTV stands for Used to Be Music Television. You can use it. No, but the funny thing was, aside from me not knowing literally one person, I don't know, was J-Lo not there? Why was she not at something? We have a J-Lo not sighting. What a fucking burn. No, I like J-Lo. But the funny thing was, on the carpet, Addison Rae's mom, Addison Rae, who I did when I hosted Jimmy Kimmel, she was on with me. And Addison Rae's mom is this really pretty, nice woman. We sat next to her at the fights. Anyway, she's there with Young Gravy, who, again, I don't know. That's my fault because I have shit to do. But he's a singer, rapper, whatever. But he's a big, good-looking guy. But then we realized they called each other to go on a date because he likes cougars. And then I thought, this reminds me of, you know, Machine Gun Scarecrow, Machine Gun Kelly, and Megan Fox. Good-looking MILF, rapper with blonde hair, likes to do press. They're doing press. Anyway, just a thought. Sorry, Colin. But that and but back to Colin. Great friend of mine, legit. Always see him when I'm in New York, and you'll hear from one little piece of tidbit trivia. Came up with the title Grown Ups. Wow. Boom. Take that, Meghan Markle, and your dumb podcast. Oh, there, I said it. Fighting words, online fight, jack up ratings. Okay, that's it. Dana's not here. He would say the same thing. We both love Colin. He was there when I was there. He did update for a while. I think right after Norm. He'll tell you about that. And then listen to mostly what I say when I try to talk over him. Here he is, Colin Quinn.
You will punch.
Colin, I like more of your tweets. It's so embarrassing. Compliment hits wall, disintegrates.
Yes.
Colin, I would like to goof around all day, but we have to get down to business.
We have a specific orders.
Yeah. No.
I just want to start by saying, even though we're not on camera, do you think David was bothering Heather going, should I wear a collared shirt with a sweater? She goes, no, not with that V-neck. It's wrong. Okay.
She said, everything works on you. I go, good. She's reading a cue card I gave her.
If you took a bat to David's hair, it would be solid.
No, my hair's it's so today. Wispy. It's still from the well, I won't say when this aired, but I was at a certain worldwide award show recently.
Oh, really? So you were
looking for trouble. Colin, one last question.
Yeah. I'll start it off since you guys. So the first time I went to SNL, I wrote these sketches and I brought them in. Sandler got me in to meet with Jim Downey, and I showed him and he showed me the sketch. I wrote these sketches, and one of them was the sketch. What it was basically, I'm still very proud of it, even though it got rejected by every host. And it was one of those sketches I kept showing up with, and it was just like people were like, stop. It was basically Roman emperor. So it was like sanctimonious. It was like, well, I don't know. And then obsequious, you're right every time, my lord. And then Tim Meadows played Thesaurus, who goes, but that means this. So anyway, I brought that in, and Downey goes, yeah, this, the people aren't going to, this is too, and just handed it back to me. Like, it was too,
that's horrible.
Here's the thing about Downey is as intelligent, as brilliant as he was, if you showed up with something that he thought was smart and precious, a word at SNL back in the 90s.
Yeah, precious.
Was the worst thing you'd be called. He'd just throw it back at you. And then, and by the way, I also gave it to Chris Walken, who snapped at me. Wow. Chris Walken snapped. Yeah. I go, hey, that sketch. He goes, I saw it. And I was like, wow.
That's
boy.
What accent is saw it? What is that? New York? What? What?
That's Chris Walken. He's from Queens. And the only reason I know that is the first time I met Chris Walken was at some hotel. And I go, hey, my family used to go to Walken's Bakery, which was his family bakery, the legendary bakery in Queens. My family traveled all the way from Brooklyn. That's how good the bakery was. German, he's German bakery. And he goes, yeah, that was a long time ago, and just turns his head away from me.
God damn.
I've had it with him.
You've had it with him. Meanwhile, when I'm with him, I can't shut him up. David, this was great. That was great. Everything you do is great. I'm like, oh, come on, Christopher.
John Lovitz is the truth teller show business. He went up to him and goes, Chris, come on, be honest. Are you kind of making up your accent? Are you putting it on?
Wow.
No. He just starts laughing. Very
That's
So
funny.
I told you, Colin, he asked me once, he goes, you ever work with an actor dog? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you ever work with an actor cat? Did I tell you this story? And I've told it before. And I go, an actor cat. He goes, they don't do anything. They're like a regular cat. They don't move. And then if you like push them, they jump. But any cat will do that. And I go, yeah, I guess. And then he waits. Then he goes, you ever work with an actor mouse? And I go, no. And he goes, he did on Mousetrap, this movie. So it checks out. And he goes, they're good. You tell them to go up and take a beat and go to the left. And they do. They're smart.
They're smart.
See, that's when you really do agree with John Lovitz. Like, he must be acting a little bit.
Were you there? Were you there when
Why would you say that?
I know. Yeah. Why would you tell me that story?
And it's not just my bitterness about the bakery. It's a lot of things.
It's a little bit.
It seems like actors are pretty subtle in the 70s, and then later on they sort of get bored, and then they just extenuate themselves, like Pacino. Wow.
Yeah.
No, screaming and just
only Duval managed to keep it.
Oh, keep it under,
small.
keep it real. I have to give Colin a compliment. He's always highly respected. This is for the people that are listening. Highly respected
very
comic,
popular,
one of the smartest. Also writes these 1 hour shows that I wouldn't even understand just watching them. And then he also does all the research, makes jokes out of anything. If you gave me a subject, my act is about like 1,000 different things. But if you had said, write an hour about one thing, I'd be like, give me 500 years. And he does it, and he does it again. And he takes something that probably doesn't sound funny on the surface, like the Constitution or something. And he goes, I think there's an hour there. And makes it really good.
Well, thank you. Google does half of it, but thank you.
You've done 7 stage shows, but we're going to get to the part. We'll get to SNL, but I like Tough Crowd. That was when was Tough Crowd? Before or after?
It was before. It was in the early 80s.
Because a lot of shows get compared to Tough Crowd.
No, I'm lying. It was in the 2000s.
I thought you were 90s. So
I found it was interesting. Is this true, Colin? You start stand-up, they said, in 84. You're on remote control 3 years later.
Yeah.
Nobody gets a TV show in 3 years. How great did your stand-up get to get that? I mean, in 3 years?
Well, it's funny you say that because my stand-up was, not only was it behind, but I was always like a comedian, even in New York. So I would do these gigs. It was really the one time I had like that heat where you'd like I'd go to a college in the Midwest, and there'd be 2,000 people. And the first time I did, I go, "Who are they here for? Is there a show here?" They go, "You." And I go, "Oh no."
Oh wow.
And like half my act was about like specific streets in Brooklyn, and it was kind of a rough go. But they didn't care. As long as I stayed and signed autographs and did pictures afterwards, nobody cared.
Yeah.
So I'd hang out like 2 hours after I'd do like 45 minutes to mild laughter. Yeah.
He does. Halfway through his act, I saw him, these 17-year-old kids are cheering, and then he goes, "And now I'm going to read from my Roman Empire sketch."
Yes, and now I'd like to read the works of James Joyce. Please listen.
But they were just excited. So you're saying they see you on that show. Everyone's freaking out. I'm in Arizona watching it, going, This guy's super cool. He's funny. To get a show that's cool like that on MTV, they weren't always hits or would always work. And it's a music show. I mean, it's a music station, but you've got Kari, the beautiful girl.
Kari, gorgeous, Kenny. And by the way, before I did any of that, my biggest celebrity gig, and I was paid very well and was treated very nicely, was opening for Dana in Wilmington, Delaware.
Well, yeah.
Yes. We
you were a great guy.
I
was
suppose
he?
so. I wasn't
Yes,
mean.
he was totally nice, paid better than anybody had ever paid, and was just a cool guy, nice guy before and after.
Jeez, that's nice. David was one of my dandy openers.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In Arizona?
No, New England. New England tour, the summer sheds, where it was like 100 degrees and humidity. It was. Those are tough. You ever play those outdoor sheds in August? Brutal.
Dana, did we share a car?
I think I drove us around.
I think you had a rental car, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was fun. That was fun for me because Colin, he makes fun of me, but it was true. He goes, do 20 minutes. So I'd walk up there with shorts and flip-flops and drink a Heineken and go, what else is going on? Then
And he'd drape over the stool and he's kind of whispering, what's up? I go out and I'm dancing. Hey, isn't that special? Gotta do it. Gotta. Pew.
David goes, this is going worse than the Challenger.
Oh, yeah. I go, Dana, my closer is about the Challenger exploding last week, so you're going to go up right after that. And he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe. And I go, NASA need another 7 astronauts. And he goes, you know what? I wouldn't even put that in there. I would probably.
Some girl screams. David goes, who's that baby Jessica?
I remember Willington, though, with you, because you were a great comic. I remember about 15 minutes in, I just said to the sound guy, is there any way we can kind of, have you given him the light? That was my first move.
Well, he hasn't gone on yet.
Could we get him off? I mean,
Light.
I was like, because the waves of laughter were vibrating. I was like, is there any way we can get him off politely? Oh. How long did you do?
I really love that. Yeah, like 20.
20.
Shit.
It's fun.
I love it.
When the audience knows you.
So after Remote Control, is it 3 years between that and SNL? And what do you do during those 3 years?
It was more like 5 years, and I'm just doing stand up, and really, I mean, it was going pretty badly. You know, there's something about being back in coach after you were in first class. It's very humbling and very good. It's very good for you. But then what happened was I was drifting around doing stand up, and I had a couple of things going on, but nothing really. And then Fred Wolf goes, hey, Lorne's coming out to see people. I want him to see you. I really think you should be on the show. It's ridiculous. And you know, when Fred puts his mind to something, it's happening.
Yeah.
And so we had this big audition in LA, and I'll never forget. It was during the long desert nights when stand up was finished. So they had to bring in audiences for free. So this is a improv.
Oh boy.
They had to bring in all these kids from a summer camp, 15-year-old kids. So it's like 200 kids from a summer camp in the middle of their camp. Mm-hmm. So it's like a summer.
I think I remember these crowds.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I bombed so badly, and I was so fat that Erin told me afterwards, she goes, I told Lorne, he goes, I thought this guy didn't look like this. She goes, I think his face is in there somewhere.
I don't remember you ever being that
That's
heavy.
so funny.
Erin Maroney said that. She was, I think his face is in there somewhere.
That's such a great thing to say. David, Lorne really likes you. She used to go, David, Lorne really likes you. I'm like, why am I not in the show? I don't know, but I think he really likes you. And Erin was very like a positive, fun force running around that place.
And then she was great. And then Lorne hired me as a writer because Fritz goes, no, you hear the writing? Do you hear the jokes though, Lorne? And then when I got there, Lawrence go, yes, you kept a couple of people's careers alive for a few more weeks with that performance, basically saying how badly I bombed. And then hired me as a writer. And the only one I knew there really was David and Norm, you know.
Did you, was Marcy there or Shoemaker or any writers there?
Marcy and Shoemaker, we were all there, but I didn't know them before.
Yeah. So you come on as a writer, and I was probably, is that 95 maybe?
Yeah, 95 was you and Huge Fink. It was your last year there.
Oh, right, my last
Hugh
thing.
Fink, yeah.
And that's when you started Hollywood Minute.
Yeah, I think I'd done Hollywood Minute a few times, and then I had my own 5 minutes.
Right, that's what I mean.
Lauren said, if you stay a year, I think Farley and Sandler left.
That's
so it was
right.
too much of a shake-up to have everybody go at once.
Yeah,
So
you and Norm stayed.
yeah, huh? David.
Hey!
Colin.
Hey!
Huh?
And all Norm wanted to do was play football in the hall. So that's all we were doing.
We also had that Magic Johnson basketball hoop.
We had fake sports in the hall. That was the only thing we did all day. And Norm would storm down the hall in those, he dressed like crisscross, like these young rapper kids. He had like these giant, he was dressed like in Carl Kanai jeans and just be like, like storming down the hall, just starting trouble.
I know where he wasn't going, the bathroom. Because he had that in their office. We found so many ways to not write, Colin, because we would shoot hoops in that little tiny Nerf hoop, and then we'd throw the football. And it was anything to go, we got to start writing. And I would always want to write while I was fresh in the middle of the day, but it was so frowned upon. Like, what a loser.
I always hated, I was the same way. I would write on Sunday and Monday. I always thought that was so fake that everybody's like, we have to stay up all night Tuesday. It's like, no, we don't. You could write on Monday and Sunday, and you could come in at 12 in the afternoon on Tuesday.
I know, you really look down on like a nerd if you were writing. They're like, what are you doing, Spade? I go,
it was this thing from the old days when people did coke, which I understand. That was organic. But by the time we were there, it's like, why are we staying up all night? It's fake.
The all-nighters with no coke was just a bad idea because I get why they used to do it, but now I'm like, we don't have coke and we do have the day off, so we could fix this.
Well, I feel like you just reiterated what I said, literally exactly.
Right.
And
well, I was waiting for Dana. I just was trying to. By the way, Colin has another real big credit.
A Wi-Fi issue.
Colin, you know what his big credit is? What movie did Colin think of the name of? Do you know this answer, Colin?
I know it. Of course I know it.
I don't know it.
I'll give you a hint. It was called Lake House for a long time.
Oh, it would be Black Sheep or Tommy Boy. No. Okay.
It was Grown Ups.
The Godfather.
Grown Ups.
Godfather. You thought it was Grown Ups. We couldn't think of a name.
Why would you change the subject in the middle of SNL?
I know, we're going back to it. I just had to make sure I said that
ridiculous.
Because you told me that I have to say that at some point. Okay.
I did?
So you're on SNL and you're a writer, and you're a really good writer, so it's different. I think you were very comfortable in that position, right?
Oh, I was too comfortable.
Yeah.
I was, I remember the first time, my first sketch was Chevy Chase was the first host. And my first sketch was up first. And it was called The Blame Game. And it was a racial game show with a white guy and a black guy, Tim and Chevy. And it was called The Blame Game, where everybody just blames each other for what's going on.
Right.
And then we get to rehearsal, and Lorne goes, where's the buzzing sounds because there's no buzzing sounds for the
buzzers.
So I go, I didn't think like that was the important part of the sketch. He looked at me. Like,
oh boy.
Oh, this guy's an idiot. So they got buzzers, but then the buzzer during the game, Chevy just starts pressing the buzzer.
Oh, to fuck it up?
Well, I don't know if he meant it to. It's hard to tell. It's almost like a kid with a buzzer.
Yeah. Oh, and it kept screwing up, and it turned into that.
I don't think he was trying to sabotage it.
Right. It turned into the buzzer sketch, and it lost all its smartness.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Who knows? I know. God.
Who knows? But it was good to get it, like early on. I didn't realize how important it is to get sketches on. You know what I mean? I was so cocky, like my sketches wouldn't get on. I was like, what's that problem? You know, like everybody at SNL, you go in there, everybody's like, my stuff should be, you know, everybody's got a little bit of an attitude. I feel that everybody who makes it out of there alive has a little bit of an attitude.
Sure. I'm so damaged. It's a combo of things. I blame my dad leaving me second, and then I put SNL.
SNL first. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that. Yeah.
But I did get a lot of fun off it. I'm not saying negative, but I actually wasn't prepared to write like you had to write there. I was a rookie, and it takes so long. You were ahead of me in that department, but it was fun because you were always pretty cool to me about sketches. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. You would, after read through, come up and give me a compliment if you liked it, and those are not always easy to come by in a semi-competitive situation. And so I always appreciate it because you're such a smart writer. And then I thought maybe you were just doing that to make me feel better, you know, to make me feel like, that was good. You were just saying it. And then one time you came up to me after read through and you go, hey, that thing, and I'm ready for my compliment. And you go, yeah, you can't do that. And I go, oh, I think he said we're going to do it. And you go, yeah, but you can't. You can't.
Why, it was hacky?
Yeah, it was hacky. You go, it's comedically, you just can't. You can't do it. And I go, oh. And then I was like, oh, you are thinking it through every week. And you are giving me actual compliments. And now is a time where your honesty is appreciated.
Unwanted.
Yeah, unwanted, appreciated. And but I got scared because I go, oh no. By the way, disappointing you is horrible. You were just telling me, oh yeah, because all of us kind of look up to Colin and go, oh, I hope Colin thinks it's funny. And then when you didn't, you weren't mean about it. You were just like, basically save yourself and save your reputation, and you don't need this. And I'm like, I didn't understand. I go, but it'll get on. You're like, yeah, I'm not getting to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about my arrogance. When people ignore my advice, I go, what?
My arrogance.
Like, I never think to myself, like, hey, you know what? They have to do what they have to do. I'm always like, I just told you what to do. All right.
It's awesome.
That's the kind of delusional grandiosity that I'm capable of.
Where do you fall in, like, because I'd heard this from other people about you being especially generous in a sincere way. But you know, Smigel told me about his cartoon. And you would come up to him and really critique it and tell him how much you loved it. And so where do you put yourself on the competitive spectrum of comedians, like Sharp Elbows and that kind of thing? Or do you feel like you have a different Irish attitude or something? Because you seem so centered in a way to me, as a person.
Well, I mean, I want to do well. I mean, I want to be successful. But I feel like comedians are really the only ones that really understand each other. So it's like, I always loved comedians because I feel like somehow there's something in a comedian's frequency that we, like, even when they're not, even if you take the hackiest comedian in the world, if you're sitting somewhere with them, it's like a different conversation than with anybody else. Not that we're better or worse. It's just, they're on my wavelength. And I just feel like
you're right.
They're all we have, you know?
I couldn't agree more. If you're in New York at a party or something and there's no comedian there and you're talking to businessmen and CEOs and then a comedian comes in, instantly both kind of...
Even actors or anybody, there's something in them that's different than comedians. Comedians have this like dead part of us that is really funny and makes us who we are, where we're just like, oh, like you don't have to have that enthusiastic or, you know, that earnest thing that a lot of people, even actors, have, where they're like, it's just another layer where you're like, oh God, that's brutal, but it's like how we feel. I can't even articulate it, but it's like you know it when you see it, you know?
It's the elephant in the room. They usually identify it, and then you have a co-conspirator, whether it's about someone's dress or the guy who's soiled his tuxedo, whatever it is, and they just go right at it. Yeah. Interesting.
I went to when you go to any party in Los Angeles where there's celebrity types, you always sort of find a comedian, and then another one finds you, and then you're all in a corner, and then sometimes other people like to come over thinking that'll be the fun group. Yeah. And then they also like, what do you guys think about blank? You know, what's going on right now? And then you get to blab around. But yeah, it is always fun because you feel some sort of comfort. Or other people.
The classic somebody who comes up to you and goes, I don't know if you know, a civilian, quote unquote, I don't know if you could use this, but I always thought this was funny. One of those guys, and you're like, oh no,
You're
this.
Oh no, yeah. I don't know if you could use this as like, I know we can't.
We know we can't.
You don't have to tell us. We'll tell you right now. But
there you go. They should do a show about my job. You should hear about my job because there might be something there.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, I feel like
okay. So you did Joe Blow. Remember Joe Blow on Update?
Yeah.
So you were a construction worker.
I love the name.
That was my happiest things was that Joe Blow and then and the Lion. Those were my favorite
Lenny
things.
the Lion. I saw that. Yeah.
When I did those two things, and I at that moment, I think it was the first Lenny or Joe Blow where I was like, I just lived my dream. Now I can die because being on SNL live, so it could never be taken at that time, especially, but still to this day, live, that still means so much. And then to do those things that were really important to me, I was like, that was it. I could have died right then.
And you got to write it. And there's something about writing it. And you do a TV show, you do a movie, and a year later it comes out and you go, oh, they cut out that part.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't get picked up. It never got aired.
Or the news changed. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's right there. It's how you wrote it, how you want it out there. You actually present it, and then you walk off, and your phone can ring and go, I just saw it, and I'm in Milwaukee, and you go, oh, it's out. Okay, so what I thought of is out.
And stupid Norm, right before I go on the air, this is Norm to the core. I'm in a lion costume the first time ever. I'm nervous because it's SNL, and just I wrote this thing, and I'm getting it on.
You look
dumb.
Then,
nobody really remember. Some people maybe remember me from MTV, but it's been a few years. And then I'm sitting there in a lion costume, and then Norm goes to the crowd, is that Colin Quinn? He's dressed in a lion suit.
Yeah, I can see that. But he's not a lion, right? He's not a lion. He's just sort of in a lion suit. Yes. You know what I mean? Don't be frightened. He's not actually a lion. No one like Norm.
No.
I mean, how do you followed Norm, and Norm was one of your favorite comedians, and How was that for you?
It was very ugly. And when I look back now, I feel like I sabotaged what I was doing too, because I was so afraid of being like, hey, like Norm screwed up, I'm going to be the good guy. And so I kind of went out of my way to be villainous. I feel like I just sabotaged my time at that spot, because SNL for me is such a demarcation between the great times I had there, which was before that, and then the dream gig, which is Weekend Update, where I was miserable. Lorne was miserable. It was just not. It was a bad thing. It was a bad time.
What to speak to that? Was it because the hangover of Norm being fired? Is that what gave it? It's
because Norm getting fired, and then suddenly I found myself in a position where, so I'm going to be like the goody two shoes. I had never done that in my life. So I felt like I went out of my way to sabotage every episode that I could until that became my thing. And it was not a good thing, but it was how it went. So I feel like I destructed I got off on that foot, with the Norm thing. And then I would never try to be like, engaging. I would barely smile. And I mean, I was kind of like that in stand-up to begin with, I guess, but I took it to another level. And I really feel like that's what I did. But I didn't realize that till like 7 years ago,
And how
had you grown into your face by then?
Yes, sometimes I had, sometimes I hadn't. My weight's been up and down a lot.
Your face
I
was
thought
there.
that during that update time, Aaron was always over in 8H right near you, just with her arms crossed, kind of staring and pointing to your face. But I heard that was a rumor. Sorry.
But
if you heard the first part of the podcast, that made sense. But
it has to be a bit of an uphill battle, no matter who you're following. It was like Dennis, there's Neil, and there's you.
Sure.
And so you got to go, okay, I'm the new guy. They might be mad because Norm gets a little more legendary status because he got fired or whatever. So they're like, he's like a hero. Right. And then it's like, oh, what do you got? And you weren't like super sketch guy at that point. So it wasn't like bringing Fallon up or something.
No, but it was more than, like I said, it was also me just sabotaging it, because I was like, I'll show you I'm not, you know what I mean? I was not, and it was a weird vibe. It was a weird fit. And when I look back, I know why now, but at the time I didn't. I was just like, I don't know what's going on.
What specifically would you say to your younger self then about that moment? Just have more fun,
if
or
you're
be more
going to do
animated,
it, yes, try to charm them a little bit. Don't just be like coming on like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, I would say that to myself in comedy in general. I feel like, I always had this weird thing about comedy. It was like, you shouldn't be trying to cheat and, smile and win them over and, you know what I mean? Like, do your material. So I always had like an attitude that didn't incorporate that, which was, then I wasn't even enjoying it. So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you're not going to bring your personality too, you might as well just hand out books. Here are my jokes. Everybody read them and I'll sit on stage. And after an hour, time is up and we'll just leave. But
it is true. It's like, it is show business. And you have they go, like Sandler he knew what he was doing right away.
Yes. Well, no, not right away. I knew Sandler the first time he started.
Yeah.
It took him about a year and a half. And the first year and a half, he was up there like a young raw, and then he came back. He went on the road for a year and a half. And he came back and you're like, oh, he had all his charisma was there suddenly. But
confidence and charisma. Yeah. Same thing.
But also because, you don't want to overdo it, because how many people do you know that were just, I worked with a lot of 80s really hacky people that were just all fake, and we all resented it when they'd go up there and they'd start laughing and the crowd would start laughing and they'd be it was all this sound and fury signifying nothing. So it was like, you're like, wait a minute, that's not stand up. This is, and so then you overcorrect the other way and just go, I'm not going to move. And so there's, you know what I mean?
Can I just interject for a second that I think you found the title of maybe your next book?
What? Sound and Fury.
Sound and Fury signifying nothing. That is an incredible phrase. If you just think of that.
Well, it's Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare.
Oh, it's Shakespeare. Oh, Bill Shakespeare. Okay. I love it. Oh, I'm not really well read. So
what was funnier than Phil Hartman going, then Chris Farley going, looks like we got ourselves a Bill Shakespeare over here. When David goes, I really was thinking of becoming a writer. And he goes,
hey, look at this guy.
And he goes, well, actually, we try to encourage his writing.
Phil goes, actually,
Chris Farley's face. Chris Farley's face was so depressed over that.
And then he flicks his glasses up and down. Hey, I can't see too good.
Yeah, he was always
like that. Is that Bill
that.
Shakespeare?
I don't know how to write anything. Every night he'd say that.
Phil Hartman totally denies him. He goes, actually, we try to encourage him. And his face was so depressed and mad.
I like when he turns on, he goes, Dad, I wish you'd shut your big yap. I like at the beginning of that sketch, they'd think of different reasons to make him gacked out. So they go, we hired a motivational speaker. He's been down in the basement eating coffee beans for 3 hours. Like, why? to explain why he's going to bust out of the door and fall through the wall.
I know. But that was the problem. Speaking of the show, here's what the problem, in my opinion, there's two big problems with SNL. One is structural things, which obviously it's the most genius structure of all time, right? It's still the most genius structure. A live show where Sarah Silverman once described that. I go, what do you think of the show last night? She goes, it's like it always is. It's a casino. Even if that sketch you watched didn't work, you're like, you know what? The next one's coming up. And I was like, yeah. But the two things that I thought were big mistakes was one, when they would have the rewrite session where suddenly everyone's throwing in these funny lines that ruin the magic that sketch had that writer wrote. So you'd have all these lines, and then it just killed the sketch. Because
it's getting gangbanged by too many people that are a different styles.
All have good jokes. Those jokes are better than what was originally in the sketch, but they ruined the alchemy or whatever. Right?
Ooh, yeah.
And then the other thing was, which I'm sure you guys much more than me must have dealt with the frustration, especially Dana, which is dress rehearsal. Some of the best things. Who cares? The dress crowd's not laughing. That doesn't mean it's not the greatest sketch. And it's a different animal. So cutting things based on an audience response between dress and air, I felt like that was crazy, because how many great sketches you see, you go, no, you can't cut that. It's going to work. But just because that dress audience didn't work, that Dana, you must have like 5 characters that you had that you were like, no, just let it go to air, you know?
Yeah, and then eventually, you know, I had so much status there and had a lot of great collaborators that I would try to not peak at dress. I wanted the air show, my brain, and we all had that, and at Update 2.
To beat the system.
You want your live show to be the voice in your head going, this is the best I've done it this week. And that took me a while to learn. I peaked at read through a few times, just trying to get it on the show. Crazy. And never got back there. But yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I can see that. You know, when De Niro, one of the big things was on was Joe Pesci was on with and Brewer used to do Pesci, so they asked me to fill in whoever's going to do De Niro.
Yeah,
as De Niro. So De Niro shows up, and at dress rehearsal, it was the most magic thing because we hadn't seen them yet. We heard they were coming, and it was this, and the air was good. But dress rehearsal was just
terrible feeling.
Even De Niro had a different energy to him, you know?
Well, then you're discovering it still a little bit because you're so beaten down after the read-through with Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday walkthroughs. By the time you get to an audience, you really think the thing sucks. So that's the first time you're getting laughs since read-through, since Wednesday. And so it's hard to get back to that on the air show. That discovery of like, wow, I'm killing. This is great, you know?
Well, Shoemaker used to always talk about you, and he said, Dana, even if he didn't have the guy's voice down completely, he always had something about him that he discovered that was so funny that made it, that took it to another level. You know what I mean? He said, you will always do that. Now, did you do that? Like, I don't know how impressionists really, did you do that consciously, or did you watch tapes, or did you, like how long do you have to watch somebody? How many times do you have to watch Ross Perot before you go, that?
He was pretty immediate, but if anyone cared to look at the first one, I wasn't as committed. I wasn't extending the rhythms. And then as you watch someone, these sub rhythms keep coming out. You know, can I finish one time? Can I finish one time? I don't know if that was in the first one, like a press conference.
Right.
You're not listening. That frustrated kind of thing. I just yesterday, and I'm not like James Austin Johnson, but I thought I heard a new Trump rhythm that I hadn't heard before, which is like, it's not a great Trump, but the rhythm you'll hear at the end where he fades away. He's like, and gas is going up, $5 a gallon, $7, $10 a gallon. How high can you count? How high can you count? That's the one. I hadn't heard it.
Yes.
10, 12, $15 a gallon. How high can you count? It just
and he looks away sometimes. He sort of turns aside.
Yes.
I like when Dana says, when he goes, excuse me, but no one's interrupting him.
My angle was that he would just take a word and repeat it for 3 minutes and make it work. We're going to win like everybody. We're going to be winning. We're going to win, excuse me. We're going to win so much. You're going to be tired of winning. You're going to win. We're going to win. We're winning. Too much winning. People are saying, please, enough with the winning. So that Trump was an amazing.
People are saying.
Such a great
he always
guy.
has people saying things to him.
Yeah.
People are saying this guy's a crook. Many people are saying.
Yeah.
Many people don't like. I like when he says, many people don't like this person. A lot of people have come to me.
And then there's
based on nothing, just to make someone look like an asshole.
But yeah,
he's a loser. A lot of people are whispering to me he's a loser.
Many people are saying. Many people, excuse me. Many people are saying. Like, he's not very well liked. You know, you were nice. Now you're not so nice. Okay. So he's a one-off. Someone asked Rudy Giuliani before he went a little kooky, how do you define Donald Trump? And he said he's unclassifiable. like a rare insect. And you can't. There's never been another one like him. So what do you, I don't know where to go. There's so many things I want to ask.
I have a question.
I
have a lot.
Colin, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when you do Update, were you working with, was it a Downey or was it Herb Sargent, or who was kind of running it with you?
No. It was, we had different people, but it was Carlock, Robert Carlock.
Oh, Robert Carlock, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And was Tina on yet? No.
Tina was on. No, she wasn't on the show, but she was the head writer.
Oh shit! And when we had Myers on, and I mean, I think he did. Did he say he offered you? What was it? What part? Scott.
He not only offered me, but that's
Is
one
that
of
a
my
rumor?
No, he literally. Sarah Silverman again called me. She goes, "Mike Myers is looking for you." I go, "Oh, all right, yeah." He calls me up and he goes, "Hey, I'm doing this movie. This whatever it was. It's about." He describes Austin Powers. He's this guy from the '60s, and I go, "That's great, man." I had nothing. I literally. He goes, "So I'll fly you out and you do this part. You know, I saw you on Gary Shandling playing Rip Torn's son. So just do whatever you did then is great. Just do that in the movie."
Wow, nice.
And I go, "Yeah, I'm working on my own movie though." And he goes, "Oh, you shooting something?" I go, "No, I'm just rewriting it." And he goes, "All right, well, this will take a few days. It's not a big deal." I go, "Nah, I'm busy." And he literally goes, "What?" Like, he goes, "What's going on?" Like, he didn't understand what was happening. He goes, I go, "You know, plus the show's happening." He goes, "Yeah, but it's a week off. I'll talk to Lorne. Don't worry about that." I go, "Nah, I'm just, thank you." And he goes,
fucking funny.
So stupid. And then he goes, "Look," I go, "it sounds great. Well, good luck with your movie." I go, "It sounds like the kind of movie." I said, "You can even get like Burt Bacharach type music." He goes, "No, we have Burt Bacharach doing the actual Burt Bacharach music." Like, this is a big production. And for whatever combination of stupidity on my part, I still, I just kept turning it down. I mean, all he did was say, "Look, I love you on Gary Shandling. This is the part. Do your thing." And that's it. And I turned it down. And he goes, "I can't beg you to do it." He goes, "I'm offering it." And whatever idiotic thing. And I've turned down a lot of things in the business, but I never regretted them, But that one I regret because it was great.
I have heard you've turned down stuff and I go, it's great. But in your own mind, if it's not for you, whatever reason, you move on.
But what is your reason? So in most cases, I was right. I defended all. That one case, I was wrong. I was stupid. Because he made it for me. He said, "Just do what you did."
Yeah, it's just walk in the park.
It's easy.
Sometimes
you already did it.
I think for all of us, if you're lucky enough to get on TV or be in show business and you have things coming at you, and later on, I would always say to myself, I did not know what time it was. I was in something that I had no context for. So,
right.
How could you know that Austin Powers would be a trilogy and a global smash when you turn it down?
I couldn't know that, but it sounded fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's funny. And he's great.
And he's funny. I always liked him.
Yeah.
It was great. I don't know what my problem was. Yeah.
But Dana, I agree, and I'm chiming in, even though people say I talk too much. But
my wife is all over that. She says you're great.
What you're saying about that, Dana, I like to use words like frequency and alchemy when I talk. Because I just stole them from Colin. I'm going to use them all the time. But
full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
I can't. I wouldn't be able to get away with that one. But they would buy alchemy from me, maybe. But Dana, you're saying you get in sort of a vortex, and I wasn't in like a super fame vortex like when you were on SNL. But when I did SNL, and in the summer we did Tommy Boy, and then we come back to SNL, and they go, "What do you guys want to do this summer? What movie?" There's this one Black Sheep that Fred, has, and we're like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Hi.
And then we do that,
Hey,
and then
you're good.
Hey,
you're not so
David,
good. Okay. All right. No, you're really good. You're not so good. Okay.
Dana, I'm going to talk about you in a second. I just want to tell something to David, but I have a big compliment for you at the end.
That was really good. No, I swear to God, that was really good. But you're not so good. Okay.
We're doing Fred Wolf. So then, and then the next summer, I think there was. Do you want to do a Gap Girls movie or something? But the point was, I didn't realize how hard it is to get a movie and how it just that's a thing you're caught up in where things are getting kind of thrown at you. And then I was like, nah, maybe. And then like a summer later, I'm like, I think I want to do this movie. And they're like, oh, that ship kind of sailed. And I'm like, well, what about this? And they're like, nah. And then I thought, holy fuck, is it hard to get a movie? And they're like, yeah dumb fuck.
If it makes you feel better, I turned down Wayne's World 1. I thought right before we did it, a couple weeks before, I go, I don't know. I don't think so. That'll be all right.
Psycho.
I love it.
Yeah. Just like, maybe maybe.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
And well, it's also everything you do is a gamble that could hurt you. You almost rarely think about the upside. You go, if this fucks up, I'm in a bigger hole.
Yeah, but that's what you think. But meanwhile, it doesn't mean any. The more you do, the people that do everything is Teflon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
rare. The last time anybody got screwed was Billy Squier doing his video for And Sandler told me that one. He goes, I remember him telling me, this Billy Squier video from 19. I was like, what? He goes, oh, that destroyed him because he did the whole thing. He was laying on these silk sheets. And it messed up his credibility.
Yeah.
Billy Squier was amazing.
Yeah, he's fucking unreal.
He did some video that was like on some silk sheets doing like a pretty boy video. And
he didn't lose me for good. I took a little
I'm
pass
sorry,
for a little
but can
bit,
you guys
I'm back in.
familiarize myself? I'm representing this other part of the audience. Billy Squier, what was his song?
Lonely is the night.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And he had
That
stroke it,
Stroke
stroke
me.
Stroke me.
Yeah.
I was trying to clean it up. I was trying to PG it for the audience.
Oh, okay. And that was, I think, Sandler used that in Billy Madison.
Yes, I think he did.
I have a thing that every time Adam's name is mentioned, I just do it to myself. Thabathu. Every time Sandler's mentioned on the podcast, I just do that. I've already done it twice. Yeah, show business. The only guy who seemed to have show business wire, first, the people who are like, I always see Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno happen to be the most successful metrically in many ways. They both were so pragmatic about it. And Leno was always, you never stop. His whole thing was, don't stop.
Right.
Guys, stop.
Right.
Don't ever stop. And it was very, very logical advice.
You know, Colin,
Go ahead.
What you were saying about people that do a lot of stuff. I sometimes do a lot of stuff, but also it's because out of some of it's fear and some of it's, if I'm getting a script for a movie, we did this one, Father of the Year. I don't even have to say individual movies, but they're never handing me the number one movie out there that's the funniest one written because there's a hierarchy of who's getting that. So if I get a script and they're willing to do it, I'm either co-writing it or I'm trying to help punch it up, or they're saying this one's a little bit of a mess. There's a reason it's not made right now, but there's something there.
Right.
And if you want to put the work in and try to help it or do whatever, or you think you can bring something to it. And those are more opportunities where you go, I can't sit back and say I'm going to get the best of everything, or you won't do anything. So I think what you're saying has made me think, you try stuff to go, if I get to take a swing, that might help me because I can get in there and do my best. So anything, a talk show, anything, just get in front of people where someone goes, because it's constantly on an audition. So if you hit one that wasn't supposed to be a hit, people go, oh, okay, maybe we'll give them another one. You know, that kind of thing. You just got to stay out there.
But what you also said, even talk show, movie, whatever, when they let you write on it, I feel like all of us comedians are like, oh, let me get a swing at this script too.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel everything I've ever read. I'm always like, that's good. I could have made it better.
I remember reading Colin had a few scripts and I'd say, oh, can I read that one? And the compliment is really, I don't know why they're not making them other than it was almost too smart. It was very funny and very smart. And I think in our world, sometimes you don't want to be the smartest one in the room. What room are you in?
It's that thing of like, it's going over people's heads and it's like a really big audience out there. Just do what you want.
You mean the Beatles were smart and dumb? Do you know what I'm saying?
They had a good beat and then you have Strawberry Fields. It's that whole thing of like, so Colin...
You stopped. Oh, shit.
No. I stopped.
Anyway, it was like Colin writes so smart. If you see, Dana, any of his one-man show, saw one.
Yes, I watch them all the time. I've seen all of them, I believe.
Oh, thanks.
They're really fun to watch. What I was just going to ask you, I don't know if you were, David, it's like the research part of it, because you're, how steeped are you in the history of when you the research part before you make the comedy part?
Well, it's so easy because you just have it, like I said, because of Google. It's not like the old days, but the only one that was a lot of research. The one was a lot of research was the Constitution one because I had to read these books to understand what everybody's thinking about it at that time. So I read these horribly boring books because in the old days they wrote books. You had nothing to watch on TV, so you had to read the book so they could write it as intricately as they wanted. Yeah. So I'm reading these books going, oh my God, this language is, from another, it's another animal. And, but that's it. But mostly now with Google, any facts I want, I just Google them. But you know how it is. Then you're on suddenly you're on like you're just lost in a rabbit hole. And then I'm like, why was I here originally again?
Yeah, it's hours and hours. Yeah.
It's the worst.
Well, on the premiere night of Grown Ups, I think number one, we were all in New York doing press, and we all came to see your show, right? Was that which show was that?
That was Long Story Short.
Long Story Short.
That's how long. That's how long ago that was. That was 12 years ago. You guys were there.
Gross. Anyway, we walk out of there in a daze going, why are we all in comedy? It's all like so thought out and put together. And I'm like,
yeah.
Even the Constitution one, I'm like, do you think you had to read the Constitution? Because I would never. And then you have to write a whole thing about it.
It's only 4 pages.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's really, really
It's 4
quick.
pages of Constitution.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
But yeah, I had to write all these books.
What's a one-man show for you versus stand-up? For you personally as a performer?
The same thing. I feel like it's the same exact thing. To me, it is. Because I
Except
work all the material out at clubs. But I work it out. I work it out at the clubs. So I mean, it's the same thing, you know. If it's not getting laughs there, I'm not going to put it in the show, you know.
Because back in the day, if a comedian was too dry or whatever, people might say, "Oh, it's a one-man show," you know, because it's not going for the oath of the comic that will get 6 laughs a minute or something.
By the way, I know. No, I
yours
try to get
are
laughs
very
out.
funny. Yours are extremely funny. That's different.
By the way, what's better than Fred Armisen's one-man show guy? Did you ever see that?
Yes, yeah. Fred Armisen.
Oh, it's the best.
Yes.
And his comedian. And he did his comedian guy on Update. Do you remember that?
The guy, and then the accent guy who goes around the room with the accents. Where you from?
Well, that's amazing.
Long
but
Beach?
He did
yeah.
Remember we did the stand-up guy? He's like, got an army jacket. He's like, look.
Oh, yeah,
The New York Times, okay. My father, okay. And he just keeps. Yeah.
He just would interrupt himself so beautifully. I asked him, how do you do that? Because that's like a mental technique, you know? And he goes, yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
Colin, lastly, were you a roast guy? Did you do roasts?
Yeah. All the Howard Stern roast, the Audie roast, the Gary roast. Oh my God, those are my favorite things.
Shit, yeah, they're not doing as many.
Have you done a joke that you thought you had to kind of check it with people to see if it had crossed the line in a roast, from funny to cruel, or you just what's one that sticks out?
No, but I feel like they're all just they're all going to be.
They're pretty rough.
They all have to be godless to a certain extent, but nothing now. Comedians, like the young comedians, do these roasts put on YouTube. They're so much more brutal than anybody. We thought I was like, whoa, that's hardcore. They don't give a damn. It's really funny to watch. So whatever we did was like light compared to what goes on now at roasts, you know?
I think what happened is like Amy Schumer sort of got known from roasts, and maybe Whitney.
Right.
And there's people that blew up. So they go, here's my one chance. The worst is if you're getting roasted and they go, oh, we're going to have a couple of your friends in quotes, and then 8 new comics. And you go, so there's no fun between you two. It's just an assassination.
Yeah, no.
And they get famous from it.
But what I hate is, once again, my little critiques of everything, is that there's writers at roasts. I hate that. I hate it. Like when we did roasts, you wrote your own jokes. That was the whole pride. Like, these are all from me. And once in a while, somebody would go to their friend, hey, I'm making fun. I'm sure people took jokes from other people, but it was you. And now it's writers, and the jokes are good. But like you said, they're brutal. Nobody cares. It's not you up there saying it. You wrote it. You tell us, and the other person's desperate for jokes. So you got these celebrities making some obscure, jokes about somebody's, first wife dying or whatever. Yeah. They don't know what they say. You know what I mean? It's
right. They're up there going, hey, which one's being roasted? Chevy? Okay. Hey, you fucking asshole. And you're like, what?
Right.
My friends can say that to me, but I don't know who you are. And that's why people get mad. Yeah. If no one's getting beat up at a roast, I don't know how this thing happened with Will Smith. I mean, roasts are brutal. All right. Well, I guess we should let Colin go. Colin, by the way, I moved, so if you want to stay here next time, you got a spot for you.
It's huge.
You moved?
Yeah. He's got a mansion.
No.
It's beautiful.
What's your new address? Almost made you say that on the air.
It was so close. They would have been with a battering ram in 10 minutes.
Well, I will keep liking all your stuff on Twitter, even though I get mad at myself. I keep liking too many in a row, and I go, "This is embarrassing."
No, I appreciate it.
Go do your thing, and I can't wait to see you when you come stay here.
I'll see you in heaven.
Christ's sakes, Colin Quinn. Nobody like him. Okay,
guys, thank you so much. But I heard your new opening, and I don't like it. You go live from the podcasts. It's Dana and David.
Why do we never think of that?
Who is saying that?
So lame.
Oh, really? All right, we'll stop that.
I heard that you guys is open. Oh, by the way, let me tell you one more SNL thing.
Sure.
Dennis McNicholas was right. He's working on the show. But we were sitting there one day, and I'm listening to Nick Drake because, in the late 90s, it was like, ooh, Nick Drake. So, yes, I'm one of those assholes. But
Nick Drake.
This song comes on called Saturday Sun by Nick Drake. And Dennis McNicholas goes to me, that's the Saturday Night Live at the end of the show. That's the song. And then we went down and asked, she was in charge of the
Hal Wilner?
No, not Hal, but she was in charge of the piano.
Cheryl
Hines. At some point, yeah.
Cheryl. And we go, Cheryl, could that be possible that they took a Nick Drake song? And she goes, when Howard Shore was in charge of music, she goes,
yeah.
Howard definitely would have done that. So that Dennis McNicholas discovered, not that anyone asked, but the mystery of that last song.
At least everyone has that answer. Now, Colin, I'm not going to leave.
I took a shot.
We don't have a corny ending. We have a good, solid ending.
You don't have a corny ending except what I just said?
No, except here's how I end the show now. Bye-bye.
This is what he does.
Hey, bye-bye.
No.
Yeah, man, you missed the easy one.
Special.
Yeah, then Dana says
my
that.
sign off. I like the 80s. What was your sign off for update? Did you have one?
Oh, yeah, we'll end on that.
What is it?
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right.
Oh, that's a great one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you had
That's
a
great one.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Colin. Love you. Hope to see you.
Bye. Love you. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. All right, here's a question. This is a question from Jason Smith. Your podcast is better than Cats. The play? The movie? I hope. The animal? I doubt it. Cats are great. I will listen to it again and again. Anyway, I like when they start with a compliment. That's smart. That gets me in. Imagine, if you will, there's a comedic heaven. You're standing before its hilarious gates. In order to be admitted, you must submit one piece from your body of work and be judged. What would you submit? Oh, Dana's not here. I don't know if I can answer for Dana. I'll answer for me. I like the people that go, I can't speak for him, but then I do. I don't mind speaking for people. What would I pick? A lot of people would say, Dave, pick Tommy Boy. But Tommy Boy is mostly Farley. It's not really me. I mean, it's a hit because of Farley. I liked Just Shoot Me and Rules of Engagement, the sitcoms I did, but those are other people too. That's based on other people doing great, and they make me funnier. So that's kind of a cheat. Emperor's New Groove is, I mean, I like it. I'm in it a lot. Voice. I'm handing in voice work to get it. Oh my God. Desperate. But, Kuzco and Yzma, they're so funny though. Fuck. And so the total of that makes that movie funny. And the animation is so great. Animation helps every joke. Fuck. Maybe my stand-up specials. I love them, and it's just me. I mean, I love Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt's mostly, at least I'm driving it and co-wrote it, so it's a good representation. But if they don't get it in heaven, then they really don't get it because some people don't like it. This is tough. Glad Dana doesn't get to chirp in. I get to just take all this time and just stare off into space. It's so glorious. But I would have to go with But what if it's R-rated because it's heaven? I can't hand it anything R-rated. Then I'm screwed. It's been very R-rated lately. Someone even commented, it was a little blue during your Mike Myers interview. I go, I don't give a care. Okay. Special, one of my specials. I think Dana has a lot to give in, so I would say that, or one of my appearances on Ellen out of my 30. No, some of those talk shows were funny. There's just different things. Some of the stuff I wrote I thought was funny. I don't know. I'm just not getting it. Thank you for the question. This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13. Executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13.